Imagine for a moment that you live in a world where your happiness isn't tied to the affection or approval of others. A place where missed calls, longing glances, or thinking of you messages don't dictate your emotional state. Instead, your sense of joy and fulfillment stems from a deeper source within yourself. This might sound like an idealistic fantasy, but it's not. It's a reality that you can cultivate through the ancient philosophy of Stoicism. Today, we'll explore how Stoic principles, refined over centuries, can paradoxically make you more desirable by focusing less on seeking validation from others and more on building your inner strength and independence. We often find ourselves craving attention, longing for someone to miss us. But what if we could approach relationships in a way that enriches our lives and naturally draws others to us? Stick with me throughout this video as I'll guide you through 10 profound Stoic principles that can not only transform your relationships, but also empower you to live a more meaningful and fulfilled life. You'll learn why true attraction starts from within, and why embracing this ancient wisdom is the key to becoming someone worth missing. 1. Living in accordance with nature. Embrace what truly matters. Stoicism teaches that the path to a fulfilling life begins with living according to nature, both our own nature as human beings and the nature of the universe itself. But what does it mean to live in accordance with nature, and why is it crucial for making someone miss you? To live according to nature is to understand the true essence of who we are and what genuinely matters to us. It requires looking beyond superficial goals and focusing on living virtuously in line with our core values. This practice helps us let go of external distractions that cloud our minds, such as the need for validation or the fear of missing out. Ask yourself, are you living your life based on societal expectations, or are you embracing your true self? Are your actions driven by a desire for external approval, or are they motivated by a deeper commitment to your values? When we align our lives with what genuinely matters, we become more attractive because we exude a sense of authenticity. People are naturally drawn to individuals who are comfortable in their own skin, who don't need constant reassurance to feel valued. The Stoics understood this, emphasizing the pursuit of wisdom, integrity, and purpose over fleeting pleasures or accolades. Living in accordance with nature also means accepting that not all things are within our control. We cannot force someone to miss us. What we can control are our own actions and attitudes. By embracing this mindset, we free ourselves from the frustration and disappointment that arise when we attempt to control the uncontrollable. As you apply this principle in your life, you may begin to notice subtle shifts. You might feel more grounded and at peace with yourself, and paradoxically, others may start to value your presence even more because of your newfound self-sufficiency. But how do we know if we're truly living according to our nature? Reflect regularly on your intentions. Ask yourself if you're acting out of virtue or if you're simply chasing external rewards. This introspection helps cultivate a life that resonates with others on a deeper level. Remember, living according to nature is not about conforming to what others expect of you. It's about understanding who you are at your core and making choices that reflect your true self. As you do this, you become not only more attractive to others, but also more content within your own life. Continue watching as we delve into the next Stoic principle, where we will explore the paradox of attraction and how focusing on self-improvement rather than trying to be missed can make all the difference. 2. The paradox of attraction. Focusing on yourself makes you irresistible. It may seem counterintuitive, but the more you focus on making someone miss you, the less likely it is to happen. Why is this the case? Because the very act of seeking attention often comes across as neediness, which can push people away. In contrast, When you shift your focus to self-improvement and self-sufficiency, you become more intriguing and desirable. Think about it. What makes a person attractive? Is it their constant availability and eagerness to be noticed? Or is it the quiet confidence of someone who is genuinely passionate about their own life? People are naturally drawn to individuals who exude a sense of purpose and who don't rely on others for their happiness. Ask yourself, are you investing time in your own growth, or are you constantly looking outward for validation? When you prioritize your development, you demonstrate that your happiness doesn't hinge on someone else's presence. This kind of self-reliance can be deeply magnetic, making others curious about you and more likely to miss you when you're not around. The paradox of attraction is a reminder to cultivate your inner world, develop new skills, engage in hobbies, and set goals that challenge you. The more fulfilled you become as an individual, the more people will naturally be drawn to you. Have you ever noticed that people seem to be more interested in you when you're busy living your best life? This isn't a coincidence. It's a reflection of the fact that when we are fully engaged in what we love, we project a sense of fulfillment and authenticity that is hard to ignore. As we explore the next principle, consider sharing your thoughts in the comments below. How have you experienced the paradox of attraction in your own life? Do you find that people are more drawn to you when you're focused on your own pursuits? Let us know what you think. 3. Mastering our inner world. Control what you can, let go of the rest. Stoicism emphasizes that our true power lies not in controlling others or external circumstances, but in mastering our own thoughts and emotions. When we become fixated on whether someone misses us, we give away our power, allowing external factors to dictate our happiness. Consider this. How much time do you spend worrying about things that are outside of your control? What if instead, you could focus that energy on cultivating your own inner strength? By practicing Stoic principles, you can learn to control your perceptions, decisions, and reactions, regardless of what others do or think. When you relinquish the desire to control others, you liberate yourself from unnecessary stress and disappointment. This doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. On the contrary, it means you actively choose to direct your efforts towards areas where you have genuine influence, your own thoughts and actions. Ask yourself, how often do you find yourself affected by the opinions or behaviors of others? What would change if you decided that only your own perceptions could affect your state of mind? Embracing this mindset will empower you to engage with the world more effectively, as you are no longer held back by the unpredictability of others. Continue to the next section, where we will discuss how meaningful relationships can be built without attachment. 4. Meaningful relationships without attachment. Love deeply, but don't depend on it. In Stoicism, relationships are highly valued, but they are approached with a certain level of emotional independence. It is not about becoming indifferent to those around us, but rather about cultivating the resilience needed to love and care for others without losing ourselves in the process. The Stoics believed that while love is a fundamental aspect of human life, it should not be the source of our happiness or sense of self-worth. Ask yourself, do your relationships define who you are, or do they complement your already fulfilling life? When we base our happiness on being needed or missed, we fall into a trap of dependency. Our well-being becomes a roller coaster, influenced by the presence or absence of someone else's affection. But what if you could enjoy a deep connection with someone without needing them to validate your worth? The Stoic approach encourages us to seek relationships that are built on mutual respect, understanding, and shared values rather than on neediness or fear of being alone. This perspective is about recognizing that the presence of others in our lives is a privilege, not a necessity. We can love others deeply, but we must also recognize that our inner peace should not be contingent upon the actions or emotions of those we love. When we practice this principle, we shift the dynamics of our relationships from one of dependency to one of freedom. By being whole and content on our own, we bring our best selves into relationships. We do not cling to others out of insecurity or desperation. Instead, we share our lives with them out of genuine affection. Have you ever noticed that when you are less focused on seeking someone's attention, they seem to be more drawn to you? This is the power of practicing non-attachment. When you don't need someone to complete you, you create space for a relationship that is based on choice rather than necessity. Embracing Stoicism in relationships means acknowledging the natural flow of life and accepting that people will come and go. It teaches us to cherish the moments we share with others while also understanding that change is inevitable. This mindset doesn't diminish the love we feel, but it makes us more resilient in the face of loss or separation. Take a moment to reflect on your current relationships. Are you holding on too tightly out of fear, or are you able to let things unfold naturally? As you ponder this, remember that meaningful relationships flourish when there is room for growth on both sides. If you're finding these insights valuable, make sure to watch the entire video as we still have many profound Stoic principles to discuss. The upcoming principles will deepen your understanding of Stoicism and how it can be applied to improve not just your relationships, but every aspect of your life. 5. Acceptance of change. Embrace the only constant in life. Stoicism teaches us to accept that change is the only constant in life. This understanding allows us to let go of our attachment to outcomes and flow with the natural progression of events. When we try to resist change, we cause ourselves unnecessary stress and suffering. But by accepting change as a fundamental part of existence, we can approach life with a sense of equanimity and calmness. Think about the times in your life when things did not go as planned. Did you fight against the current, or did you allow yourself to adapt? The Stoics believed that our strength is measured not by how rigidly we cling to things, but by how well we can adjust to life's inevitable changes. The truth is, nothing in life remains the same. Relationships evolve, circumstances shift, and we ourselves grow and change. By embracing this reality, we can free ourselves from the burden of trying to control every aspect of our lives. When we accept change, we become more resilient and better able to face uncertainty. Consider how many of our anxieties stem from the fear of losing something we value. Whether it's a relationship, a job, or even a certain status, we often worry about things slipping away. Stoicism reminds us that these attachments are temporary, and by accepting their transience, we can approach life with a sense of peace. Ask yourself, are you resisting change in your life, or are you open to the possibilities it brings? When we allow ourselves to adapt and grow, we become more flexible and less prone to the frustration that comes with clinging to the past. This acceptance also extends to our relationships, as we recognize that people change too. By allowing others the freedom to grow, we foster healthier, more dynamic connections. The Stoic approach to change is not about passivity, but about active engagement with life. It means working towards our goals while understanding that outcomes may not always align with our desires. It's about striving for the best, but being prepared for anything. When you master this mindset, you cultivate an inner calm that is both empowering and liberating. Are you ready to let go of your need for control and embrace the natural flow of life? If so, keep watching, as we'll explore how Stoicism teaches us to focus our efforts on the things we can truly influence, our inner world. 6. The role of suffering. Finding growth in adversity. The Stoics never promised a life free of suffering, but they did offer guidance on how to transform suffering into an opportunity for growth. In Stoic philosophy, Suffering is not an enemy to be avoided at all costs, but a teacher that can reveal our character and strengthen our resilience. This perspective may seem challenging to adopt, but it is one of the most empowering aspects of Stoicism. Ask yourself, how do you usually respond to adversity? Do you see challenges as obstacles that prevent your happiness, or do you view them as chances to grow stronger? According to Stoicism, our perception of suffering determines its impact on us. If we approach hardship with the mindset that it is an opportunity for personal development, we can transform the way we experience life's difficulties. The Stoics saw value in experiencing discomfort because it helps us build the fortitude to withstand life's inevitable setbacks. When we learn to endure hardship without letting it overwhelm us, we develop a kind of inner strength that cannot be taken away. Suffering then becomes not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as a path to wisdom. Consider the famous quote by Marcus Aurelius, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This Stoic idea teaches that the obstacles we face can actually help us move forward if we choose to use them as stepping stones. Rather than viewing difficulties as barriers, see them as opportunities for growth. Do you allow setbacks to dictate your mood and outlook on life? Or do you see them as temporary experiences that can lead to a deeper understanding of yourself? Remember, suffering is a natural part of life, and no one is immune to it. However, how we choose to respond to it makes all the difference. When we apply Stoic principles to our suffering, we find that our capacity for joy and inner peace expands. We learn to appreciate the moments of ease and happiness more deeply, and we are better prepared for future challenges. This does not mean we seek out suffering, but it does mean we learn to make meaning from it when it inevitably arises. Stay tuned as we continue our journey into Stoicism. Up next, we will discuss how practicing daily acts of Stoic living can transform your life from the inside out. 7. Daily practices for Stoic living. Small acts, big impact. Stoicism isn't just a set of abstract principles, it's a practical philosophy meant to be woven into the fabric of our daily lives. The Stoics taught that living a meaningful life isn't just about grand gestures or dramatic changes, but about consistently practicing small acts that align with our values. What do these daily practices look like? They involve actions such as showing kindness to others, practicing gratitude, reflecting on our day, and pursuing our passions with integrity. Each of these acts contributes to the development of a character that is admired not only by others, but also by ourselves. Ask yourself, how often do you make time for reflection or practice gratitude? These simple acts can have profound effects on your well-being and your outlook on life. By incorporating Stoic practices into your daily routine, you gradually build the strength and resilience needed to face life's challenges with equanimity. The beauty of Stoicism lies in its accessibility. You don't need to make drastic changes to start living a more meaningful life. Begin with small, consistent steps. Practice mindfulness by being present in your daily activities. Engage in acts of self-care that align with your values, and find time each day to connect with your inner self. As you adopt these practices, you may find that they transform your approach to life. The simple act of reflecting on your day can help you identify areas where you can improve, while practicing gratitude shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is abundant. Over time, these small acts compound to create a life of virtue and fulfillment. Would you like to know more about how these practices can be applied specifically to your relationships and personal growth? Stay with us as we move into the next Stoic principle, which delves into the art of letting go of control. 8. Letting go of control. Embrace flexibility and adaptability. One of the most profound teachings in Stoicism is the acceptance of our limited control over external events. We often spend a great deal of time and energy trying to control outcomes, other people, or circumstances that are beyond our influence. The Stoics encourage us to recognize this reality and focus our efforts on what truly lies within our control, our own thoughts, perceptions, and actions. Reflect on your life for a moment. How much of your stress and frustration comes from trying to control things that are simply beyond your reach? The weather, other people's opinions, the actions of your loved ones, all of these are external factors. Yet, how often do we let them dictate our mood and state of mind? By letting go of the desire for control, we liberate ourselves from this self-imposed burden. The essence of letting go, according to Stoicism, is not about becoming passive or indifferent to life. It is about learning to direct your energy towards the internal realm, your attitudes and reactions, where you have true power. When you focus on cultivating virtues like patience, resilience, and understanding, you become more adept at navigating the uncertainties of life. Ask yourself, what would change if you no longer worried about controlling every aspect of your life? How much more energy could you invest in developing your character or pursuing your passions? By shifting your focus inward, you begin to master your inner world, becoming less reactive to the chaos that may unfold around you. Stoicism also teaches us to accept outcomes without attachment. This does not mean that we stop striving for success or excellence, but rather that we learn to detach from the specific results we hope to achieve. We do our best in every situation, understanding that the outcome is not always in our hands. This mindset not only reduces anxiety, but also brings a sense of freedom, as we are no longer bound by unrealistic expectations. In practice, letting go of control means embracing flexibility. When plans change or unexpected challenges arise, the Stoic remains steady and adapts. This adaptability is not a sign of weakness, but of strength, as it allows us to continue moving forward without being derailed by setbacks. As you incorporate this principle into your life, remember that true freedom comes not from controlling the world around you, but from mastering your response to it. Keep watching as we move to the next Stoic principle, which involves the power of self-awareness in fostering a meaningful life. 9. The power of self-awareness. Know thyself to master thyself. In the philosophy of Stoicism, self-awareness is considered essential for living a virtuous and meaningful life. It involves a deep understanding of one's own thoughts, emotions, and actions, allowing us to recognize our patterns and tendencies. When we cultivate self-awareness, we gain the power to choose our responses to life's challenges rather than reacting impulsively. Ask yourself, how often do you reflect on your thoughts and emotions? Do you regularly examine whether your actions align with your values, or do you find yourself acting out of habit? Practicing self-awareness means taking the time to observe ourselves without judgment and using this insight to make conscious choices. The Stoics believed that by knowing ourselves, we can better navigate the complexities of life. This awareness helps us identify areas where we may need to grow, as well as recognize the strengths that can help us overcome obstacles. It also enables us to question our assumptions and challenge any beliefs that may no longer serve us. Self-awareness is not about criticizing oneself for every mistake, but rather about understanding why we think, feel, and act the way we do. By examining our motivations, we can discern whether we are driven by virtue or by external pressures. This reflection fosters personal growth, allowing us to live more authentically. Consider the daily practice of self-reflection as a way to cultivate this awareness. Each evening, take a few moments to reflect on the day's events. What went well, and where did you struggle? How did you respond to challenges, and what can you learn from those experiences? This habit of introspection is central to Stoicism, as it allows us to continually improve and align our lives with our values. The journey to self-awareness is ongoing, and each step brings us closer to mastering our inner world. As we grow in our understanding of ourselves, we also grow in our ability to handle life's uncertainties with grace and composure. If you're finding value in this discussion, consider leaving a comment below. Share with us how you practice self-awareness in your daily life, and let's learn from each other's experiences. Now, let's proceed to the final Stoic principle, where we will explore how to create a meaningful life through the pursuit of virtue. 10. Creating a meaningful life. The pursuit of virtue over external success. For the Stoics, the pursuit of a meaningful life is synonymous with the pursuit of virtue. Unlike many philosophies that equate happiness with external success or material wealth, Stoicism teaches that true fulfillment comes from living in accordance with one's values and striving to develop virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. Reflect for a moment. What does success mean to you? Is it the accumulation of wealth, the attainment of status, or the living of a life aligned with your principles? The Stoics urge us to look beyond external accomplishments and ask ourselves if our actions are guided by virtue. Are we striving to be the best version of ourselves, or are we simply following the path laid out by society? A meaningful life, according to Stoicism, is not defined by the number of possessions we accumulate or the accolades we receive, but by the quality of our character and the integrity with which we live. The Stoics encourage us to focus on internal achievements, developing wisdom, showing kindness, acting justly, because these are within our control and cannot be taken away from us. Consider how much of our time is spent pursuing goals that are not truly meaningful to us. Are you chasing success because it's what you genuinely want, or because it's what others expect of you? Stoicism reminds us that we are responsible for determining our own path and living a life that reflects our deepest values. The practice of virtue also means accepting the reality that suffering and setbacks are natural parts of life. By approaching these challenges with resilience and seeing them as opportunities for growth, we deepen our understanding of what it means to live meaningfully. It's not about seeking out difficulties, but about finding meaning in overcoming them. In practical terms, creating a meaningful life involves dedicating ourselves to actions that align with our values. Whether it's through acts of kindness, contributions to our community, or the pursuit of personal excellence, every small act grounded in virtue contributes to a life of purpose. This is the Stoic way, to live with intention and to find joy in living according to nature. Now that we've explored the 10 principles of Stoicism, I encourage you to reflect on how you can apply these teachings in your own life. As you continue to practice Stoic philosophy, you'll find that your relationships deepen, your stress levels decrease, and your sense of fulfillment grows. As we've discussed, the principles of this ancient philosophy offer practical tools that can be woven into the fabric of our daily lives. By focusing on what we can control, living in accordance with nature, and embracing the inevitability of change, we cultivate the resilience needed to face life's challenges. Stoicism isn't about detaching from the world. It's about engaging with it in a way that is meaningful and intentional. It teaches us that true contentment comes not from external success or validation, but from living in harmony with our deepest values. The pursuit of virtue is the key to a life well lived, a life where we can find joy, purpose, and meaning in every moment. I invite you to apply these Stoic principles in your own life and see how they can transform your relationships, your outlook, and your sense of inner peace. Let go of the need for control, embrace the power of self-awareness, and live a life guided by virtue. If you found this video helpful, please consider supporting the channel by hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing this video with others who may benefit from the wisdom of Stoicism. Leave a comment below to share your thoughts on how you practice Stoicism in your own life, or ask any questions you may have about applying these teachings. And remember, the journey inward is the most significant journey of all. As you continue to cultivate a Stoic mindset, you'll find that you don't need others to miss you to feel fulfilled, because your true worth comes from within. Thank you for watching, and may you live with wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation.